Step back in time with me to Manhattan in 1939, where Peter Parker isn't just a private eye, he's chasing down criminals as the one and only Spider-Man. In this video, we're diving into the 2020 revival of the fan-favorite series Spider-Man Noir, from its pulp-inspired roots to the original 2009 miniseries, to Nicolas Cage's iconic take in Into the Spider-Verse and the creative powerhouse of Margaret Stohl and Juan Ferreyra, who brought this new volume to life. You'll hear exclusive insights from Dave Rapoza, plus we'll uncover hidden details of the cars, guns, and even planes featured in this issue. We'll talk about the history of the men, why a Byzantius matters, and how the pandemic shook the comic book industry when the series hit shelves. This isn't just a plot breakdown, it's a full exploration of Spider-Man Noir's world, its creators, and its legacy. Let's dive in. Manhattan, 1939. When private detective Peter Parker isn't solving cases, he's chasing down bad guys as his alter ego, the Spider-Man. Catching wind of a murder at the Black Cat sets in motion a chain of events that leads Parker to the Metropolitan Museum of Art and one Dr. Huma Bergman, the sister of the woman killed. While investigating the mysterious doctor, Peter and Mary Jane are attacked by persons unknown using a blinding flash of light. Against his better judgment, Peter boards a plane to Europe with Dr. Bergman to find her sister's killer. The story continues in issue number 2. This new Spider-Man Noir series was a continuation of the 2009 miniseries written by David Hein and Fabrice Sapolsky and drawn by Carmine Di Giandomenico, with the costume design by Marco de Urvage. In Volume 1, Peter is a much younger character living in Depression-era New York. He is bitten by a mystical spider that grants him his powers. He begins working as a cub reporter under the wing of Ben Urich. A follow-up to that series came out the same year called Spider-Man Noir, Eyes Without a Face. Meanwhile, in 2018's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse animated film features a hard-nosed detective type reminiscent of classic film noir characters. This Peter Parker uses stereotypical 1930s dialogue and wears a slightly altered costume. He was voiced by Nicolas Cage. This seems to be the version that was used in the 2020 Volume 2 written by Margaret Stohl. Stohl began her career at Marvel in 2014 working with Sana Amanat on young adult novels featuring Marvel characters. One such novel, Black Widow Forever Red, became a New York Times bestseller and received favorable reviews from readers and critics alike. After writing 2 one-shots from Marvel Comics, Stohl was asked to write the Mighty Captain Marvel comic in December 2016. This title was announced in 2019, with an eventual release a year later. In August of 2020, Stohl was the subject of a 5th episode of Marvel's Storyboards, a documentary series hosted by Joe Quesada. The series can be found on YouTube. Juan Ferreyra took on triple duties as penciler, inker, and colorist of this issue. Ferreyra has worked for DC, Dark Horse, and Image, working on a range of titles including Green Arrow Rebirth, Batman Eternal, Spine-Tingling Spider-Man, and Immortal Hulk. Sideshow Art Prints has made high-quality prints available of some of his comic book covers from DC. Cover artist Dave Rapoza has had a long history with Spider-Man-related titles at Marvel. Outside of Spider-Man Noir, he's worked on covers for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Venom. He has also created covers for Secret Wars 2099 and What If. Rapoza is the co-creator of the Steve Lichtman comic book series. He also co-created the online art community Crimson Daggers. Speaking exclusively to Read Faking Comics, Rapoza discusses this issue. I was invested in the idea of being able to hopefully bring my love for pulp covers of the past to the series in my designs. It was really enjoyable to have a lot of free reign over the look of each cover, and I felt like they ended up coming together well at the time. Letterer Travis Lanham worked on issues 1 through 4 of this miniseries. He began lettering for Marvel with I Am an Avenger #2 in 2010. Soon other titles followed like Spider-Woman, Jean Grey, The Unbeatable Spider-Girl, and Ghost Rider. Assistant editor Danny Kazem worked on issues 1 and 3 of this miniseries, working alongside editor Devin Lewis. Rounding out the team was Nick Lowe. Lowe began his comics career as an intern at Marvel Comics during the inception of the Marvel Knights line. He was made editor on X-Men after Axel Alonso left that position. Lowe has edited many books in the Ultimate Marvel line, notably Ultimate Spider-Man, The Ultimates, and Ultimate Iron Man, the book for which he brought noted novelist Orson Scott Card into the Marvel fold. Lowe is currently Vice President of Content, Digital Publishing, and Executive Editor at Marvel Comics. Early on in this comic, Peter stops a pair of bank robbers from making a run for it in a distinctive 1930s-style car. While I couldn't confirm the exact model, it appears to be a Chrysler Imperial or a Duesenberg Model J. The Imperial was introduced in 1926 and was Chrysler's top-of-the-line vehicle for much of its history. The company positioned the car as a prestige mark to rival Cadillac. You may not have heard of the Duesenberg Model J. That's because it was unveiled at the 1928 New York Auto Show, less than a year before the Wall Street crash, though it was still considered luxurious and extremely fast for its time. A detailed examination of the guns Peter is using seems to suggest it is the J.P. Sauer-Sohn Model 38H. The 38H was a compact German semi-automatic pistol produced from 1938 to just after World War II. It was generally considered a competitor to the Walther PP and PPK. The pistol was used by the German Army and Air Force and is considered by some to be an advanced and underrated design of its time, featuring a simple blowback operation. Given the tensions towards Germany at the time, even in this universe, I doubt this is the case, but perhaps some artistic license was taken. Peter spends the first half of this comic trying to find a Byzantinist. So what exactly is a Byzantinist? Simply put, a Byzantinist is someone who studies the culture of the Byzantine period, essentially a time period in the Eastern Roman Empire after the collapse of the Western Roman Empire in 49 AD. The subject may also be called Byzantinology or Byzantology. A scholar of Byzantine studies is called a Byzantinist. Peter meets Dr. Huma Bergman at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, also known as the Met. The Met is the third largest museum in the world and the largest art museum in the Americas. It is the most visited museum in the United States and the fifth most visited art museum in the world. Founded in 1870, the museum was established by a group of Americans, including philanthropists, artists, and businessmen, with the goal of creating a national institution that would inspire and educate the public. The Met maintains extensive holdings of Byzantine art. There is a coffee pot diner located in the Astoria neighborhood of Brooklyn. Two, in fact. While they don't seem to have the old world appeal of 1930s New York, you may be able to spot Spider-Man there from time to time. The plane Peter boards at the end of this issue looks exactly like a Boeing 314 Clipper. The 314 was an American long-range flying boat produced by Boeing from 1938 to 1941, one of the largest aircrafts of its time. It had the range to cross the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. 12 Clippers were built, 9 of which served with Pan Am. Part murder mystery, part superhero story, Spider-Man Noir has had one foot in both categories since the beginning. The first two miniseries had more of a grounded approach, with a younger Peter Parker fighting gangsters who were hungry for power. This series opens up the noir world with international intrigue, murder, and plenty of cheesy dialogue. I'm not knocking Margaret Stohl's writing. I just can't help but notice the change in tone from the original miniseries to this one. They've taken a page right out of Nicolas Cage's Spider-Man Noir and gone full third man on this series. It's clunky at times, but certainly amusing. Juan Ferreyra's visuals are stunning. Each page feels like a canvas painting come to life. This is a well-paced, moody whodunit where the damsel in distress is clearly not what she seems. This first issue does an excellent job of introducing us to the setting, characters, and storyline. I wholeheartedly recommend you check out the entire series. It's such a fun ride. ComicBookRealm.com and MidtownComics.com both have this issue selling for $5, while eBay has various listings ranging from $4 to $13. March 2020 was the very beginning of the pandemic. Comic book sales increased exponentially at this time. Comic and graphic novel sales jumped to $1.3 billion in 2020, an increase of about $700,000. The large bulk of these were online retailers, filling in the gap from closed shops. Not only was demand high for new comics and graphic novels, the collectible side of the comics business was also strong. The collector market flourished during the year, allowing comic shops to earn significant revenue from their back issue inventories. 2020 also saw Diamond Comic Distributors stop its release of sales data to the public. Coupled by a new distribution deal for DC, makes for a difficult year to track performance. Sales data from websites like Comicron.com have had to rely on point-of-sales data to track sales. In the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, from March to May 2020, Marvel and Diamond Comic Distributors stopped producing and releasing new comic books altogether. As mentioned, comic book sales exploded thanks to the pandemic. This issue was the 26th top-selling comic of March, with 44,000 copies sold. Marvel remained on top, with a sizable lead on DC in terms of volume sold. Marvel selling 2.8 million units compared to 2.1 for DC. Image, IDW, and Boom rounded out the top 5. DC had 3 of the top 5 selling titles of the year, including Batman, Justice League, and Flash, while Marvel had X-Men and Spider-Woman round out the top 5. The top-selling comic was Spider-Woman #1 with 142,000 copies sold, while Batman #91 and #90 were second and the third most. Flash #750 and Thor #4 rounded out the top 5. There are not many ads outside Marvel for this issue. Emerald City Comic Con was advertising their convention for mid-March. On March 6, 2020, Reed Pop announced that the con would be postponed from March to August because of the COVID-19 pandemic, which had been spreading in the Seattle area for several weeks. The rescheduled event was later canceled in June and was replaced by a virtual event. The convention is alive and well, and tickets are on sale for the 2026 edition of the convention, set for March. The back cover featured an ad for American pop rock band Dreamers' latest release called Heatseeker. The ad features a QR code to stream the song, which sadly no longer works. As mentioned, Marvel was promoting their own titles in this issue, specifically Black Widow, Miles Morales, and Ms. Marvel, plus Power Pack and a Taskmaster series. There was also an ad for a Marvel and Star Wars comic called Dr. Aphra. This was the relaunch from a previous series starring the character. Aphra first appeared in Marvel Comics' 2015 Darth Vader comic book series. She proved popular enough to garner her own series in 2016, which lasted for 3 years. In 2020, a new series was launched, set between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. The first issue was released in May of that year. The series lasted almost 4 years, with the final issue being released on January 31st, 2024. I wanted to find a comic shop as close to the Met as possible. If you are ever in the area, I recommend you check out Forbidden Planet at 832 Broadway in New York City, or check them out at fpnyc.com. That wraps up our deep dive into Spider-Man Noir, a story that blends pulp detective grit with superhero intrigue, stunning artwork, and a fascinating place in Marvel history. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Don't forget to subscribe for more comic deep dives just like this, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode. I'd also love to hear your thoughts on Spider-Man Noir. Drop a comment below, and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to read the freaking comics.